Yo, what's up, everybody? This is how I made $368 trading the Nasdaq today. So this was on two separate short trades, both following my trading strategy, which is the 4-hour candle open, and then from there on I trade AMD, or PO3 as we like to call it. So essentially I like to see accumulation and the price. I like to see manipulation into a 15-minute or an hourly fair value gap or another kind of PD array, and then I trade the distribution down or up, whichever way it goes. To enter a trade, I need 5 confluences. Number 1 being a tap into a 15-minute or an hourly fair value gap or the kind of PD array. I need a liquidity sweep, I need an SMT with ES, and I need a change in the state of delivery. That's actually 4, but you know, we get mixed up sometimes. So I've recorded this on my laptop, some screen recording. It's obviously the first time I've done this, so bear with me. But yeah, if you like the video, like, comment, whatever you gotta do. Subscribe. Peace. This is my chart from the day, and I will break it down a bit more, but just looking at it now, it's actually just stood out to me that I used the same 15-minute fair value gap for both my trades, so that's quite cool. So yeah, zooming out, this is kind of the trades I took. I will zoom out further just to give you more bias, but so coming into the day, we were very bearish. Through the night, we had a big bearish sell-off. So that's obviously a confluence to me when I wake up in the morning that let's stick for sells unless the market tells me otherwise, which is what it's doing right now. So I'm assuming this is just a bearish retracement into this 4-hour gap here, which it seems to have held and is now back on its way up. So so that's my bias, that's my daily bias set. And then if we go down to the 15-minute, the 15-minute is what I execute on. Sorry, not execute. The 15-minute is what I mark out my PD arrays on. Okay, cool. We're back up and running. So as you can see on the right-hand side here, this is the 4-hour candle. So all of these candles here make up this 4-hour candle. So essentially you can see that we've dipped down, which you can see here. This is the wick of the 4-hour candle. And we're now retracing back up to a 15-minute PD array. In this case, it's this fair value gap here. Let me hide these just to make it a bit cleaner. That's my execution. Okay. So yeah, the 4-hour candle opened here on this candle here. It's then come down and it's retraced back up. So this is this candle here. This is the 4-hour candle, which I like to trade. So down we go into the 15-minute. We've got this fair value gap here, which I would like to see price to enter into and then to distribute down. Okay, so dropping down to the 1 minute, as you can see, this is kind of the accumulation phase, or what I'd call the accumulation phase. It's not the most accumulation, but if we mark this out, that's just kind of the range before the manipulation. So we mark that in blue. Then for me, this move here, which is just in progress, is the manipulation. So let's mark that in red. So we've got the accumulation, manipulation, and this manipulates into a 15-minute fair value gap. So that to me is a PD array, which I like to see price react off of. The next confluence I like to see is an SMT. So if we look over here on ES, we get an SMT here at these highs. So on Nasdaq, we take the high, whereas ES, the high stands. So to me, that's a confluence that we're going to now go lower. So we have our accumulation, manipulation, and then we need to trade now the distribution down. So the long target is the bottom of the 4-hour candle, but what I like to do is just target a 2R. So it's safe and it knows that if we want to capture the whole move, and we'll not get stopped out or break even or whatever. So yeah, we've got the accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. What I also like to see is a liquidity sweep. So we've got a liquidity sweep here into the 15-minute fair value gap. We've got an SMT, and then the next confluence and the final confluence in order for me to take a trade is the change in the state of delivery. So I wait, and then we obviously get a mass. I actually entered. If I show my executions won't show. But I entered off this down close candle here, which instantly shot back up. So I was like, oh dear, I am ballsed. I am absolutely ballsed. So if I had my stop around here somewhere, and then I targeted a 2R, which now I look at it is no, this is not right. Right, okay, so I'm back. It took me a while to figure out where I actually put my execution, but here we go. So it's about a 2.2R. So I entered off this change in the state of delivery here, as I just mentioned. If we just make this a bit bigger. So I entered off the change in state of delivery, which I can mark out. So change in state of delivery is the close above a liquidity sweep. So the last liquidity sweep we got was here because they're equal highs. So I kept it down here. So once we swept that liquidity, I wanted a close below the up close candles, which swept the liquidity, which was there. So after that, I was pretty much in, and yeah, let it play out. A little bit of drawdown to start, and then we kind of just kept running down, and we did actually hit the 4-hour low, which would have been 3.5R, but you know, you can't just chase those winners, can you, boys? Anyway, that's the first trade, and I'll move on to the next trade now. So as I said earlier, the second trade was off the same 15-minute fair value gap, which you can see here. So I'll just go down straight down to the 1 minute here, and risk was quite low on this one because I'd already taken the win in the morning, so I didn't want to risk too much. So yeah, let me figure out where I was. So I was around here because the change in the state of delivery was here, but by the time I would have entered, it would have been too late. So I waited for a retracement back to the change in the state level. My stop loss was just about this high, and then my original take profit was about a 1 to 2, which was here. So yeah, as I said before, 15-minute fair value gap, that is the first confluence I need. The next confluence I need is an SMT. So if we go over to ES, we can see my SMT. So my SMT was with these highs, so the highs that I took the last trade on, which is quite fun. Over to here. So as you can see, SMT here because ES took the highs, whereas NQ took the highs, whereas ES didn't. So that is my SMT. So that's 2 confluences. The next confluence I want to see is a liquidity sweep, obviously. Almost forgot about it, but it's always there. There's a liquidity sweep. There's also a liquidity sweep over here as well. So that's 2 liquidity sweeps. And then finally is the change in the state of delivery. So as I said before, the change in the state was here, but because it also dropped quite a lot, I didn't want to enter too late. So I waited for a retracement back to the change in the state delivery level, which was here. Again, slight bit of drawdown, but we pretty much dumped down. I wanted to, as I said, risk was quite off, so I moved my stops here. Then I moved my stops down to this level, and then I got stops out on this candle here. So yeah, that's how I made $386 trading the Nasdaq today. Thanks for watching.